And my name is Titilayo Oyinson. We would appreciate you joining the conversation. If you have a minute or two, just stay right there as we have yet another interesting conversation. Now, of course, if you would like to be part of the show or connect with us in any way, it's really easy. All you have to do is send us an email. It's going to be uh, very simple for us to connect with you and give you all the information you need. It's right there on your screen right now. That's the Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. And the hashtag is simple: one on one with Titi Oyinson. Can't wait to see your messages. Today is going to be an interesting one, everyone. The concept of artificial intelligence has rapidly integrated into various industries. Most importantly, the growing significance of AI in the life insurance sector. And of course, its potential has started to reshape the way insurance is underwritten, priced, and managed. On one, we have quite a few conversations just like this, and we hope to get to the bottom of it. Who's helping us out with this conundrum today? The future of life insurance and how it's empowering change through artificial intelligence. We have Mr. Greg Smith. He is a purpose-driven entrepreneur, actuary, founder, and CEO of OneSpark. He's lived his life under the belief that life is about searching for new ways to help people and, of course, the society live better. So he became an actuary. He's designed dozens of award-winning insurance products and helped start a bank. Yeah, I think this is the person we should be speaking with. He helped create one of South Africa's largest and first social impact bonds, and then finally started OneSpark. It's great to have you here with us, Greg.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited.
All right. So, Greg, you need to, I know I've given a little rundown into what this is all about, but you need to let us in on, how this all started for you. How did OneSpark especially start for you? And where are we going to move on from here?
Sure, with absolute pleasure. I guess it started, so obviously grew up in South Africa. And for me, went to university, became an actuary, went to work at a company called Discovery. I had a really good background there in terms of innovation and learning from some brilliant people. But at the end of the day, where OneSpark comes from me, from my side, is ever since I was a little boy, like I absolutely love South Africa. South Africa's my home. I'm patriotic. I'm very passionate about it. And I could never really accept that I can't move South Africa in the way that I wanted to. South Africa's got a lot of problems. And they're not, they're complex, but they are solvable. And for me, it was always to try build something to use it as a conduit for good. I mean, that was always my purpose. There's two different types of entrepreneurs. There's profit-driven entrepreneurs, and then there's purpose-driven entrepreneurs. And profit-driven entrepreneurs are people, who just want to make a quick buck. And obviously, when the going gets tough, they usually kind of tap out because they're just in it for the money. And for me, I always knew I wanted to create something bigger than myself to help make change. And as we go through the journey, I'll kind of show you what we've been able to do and where we're making change. But that's kind of where it was built for me. I met my business partner when we were both at Discovery, and we were designing the head of the Blue Sky team and designing all these innovative products, and just different moments where I realized that, it's the right time for me. I wanted to go travel and see the world, and that's something that I went to go live in Europe. But it was an interesting time for me to try create something that, has the potential to really help South Africa. And I think even the name that we came up with, so OneSpark, the name, it comes from two words, one and spark.
Okay, Greg, I'm going to have to stop you there. Is it raining at your side?
No, but I did hear a little bit of background noise. I thought it was from your side, which I was
a bit loud there.
Sunny, beautiful Cape Town, but now it's gone.
It's gone. What was that?
I don't know. I was like struggling to think a little bit, but I thought it was from your side. So I was like,
sorry.
Okay.
All right. One and Spark. You were talking about One and Spark.
Yeah. So if I do hear that sound again, I'll stop you as well, because we'll try to figure out where it comes from. Technology, hey, you gotta, yeah. But yeah. So what I was just trying to say was that even when we came up with the name, it's from two words, one and spark, and it's about the power of the individual. It just takes one person with a spark and an idea to change the world. So everything is built around that, the power of the individual, unlocking our people and allowing them to create a platform where they can grow and do some real good in terms of the world. So that's a little bit of the history. We left, traveled the world, came with that idea. Yeah, it's been a journey with the two of us. Now 2 years later, we just hired 100th employee. I think it was last week Tuesday. So it's been one of those journeys. And as we grow, we'll try to do our best to do good. And yeah, so we just went. Yeah. Internally, externally, there's probably like 300, but yeah, internal guys, we passed 100 last week Tuesday. It's quite a nice little milestone. I'm proud of the guys. So
All
yeah.
right. Now, one and spark, just takes just one spark to change the world. I really admire when companies are built from the ground up with that goal in mind, to make sure that you do something world changing. And something that is world changing, life changing right now is artificial intelligence, if you ask me. I think this is the next revolution. I remember reading about the Industrial Revolution of the 50s. I mean, was it the 50s or the 60s? The 50s, I think.
I think it was the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, the 50s, and how everything changed from there. But then we got Levi jeans from there as well, So because someone had to figure out a fabric strong enough for those workers who were going to be out there building all those skyscrapers, if you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So one spark changing the world. Let's talk about insurance and the mindset around insurance, because for some reason, over the years, insurance has always had that little bit of a stigma, maybe because of the, yeah, what's the term you can use? People don't like to think about life happening.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So adding AI to an already controversial concept. How did that happen? Talk to us.
Sure. So it's a great point, and it's a great question. I think you're right. So life insurance specifically is one of the grudge purchases. It's traditionally sold, not bought. And just as you were saying, because people don't want to think about life, they don't want to think about things like mortality and death. So I think where we saw the opportunity was that if we could build something that could do twofold, it was completely convenient that you could go on. In insurance, typically life insurance, it takes people about maybe a month to get cover. They go in. If you think about, and I'll take a step back. You need to really see the traditional approach, and then where we've come in and simplified it, and really made it accessible to the masses, which is kind of what, at a very, very competitive price. So basically, if you go in and you want life insurance, you'll go chat to a financial advisor, and you'll go do a financial needs analysis. And then thereafter, you got to fill out 40-page forms, pen and paper, and then it goes into the insurer, and then they sometimes send stuff back, and then you got to get more, and it's a whole process, and bloods and medicals and all this scary stuff. So you got to do that, and it takes about a month to get cover. So what we saw the opportunity, and obviously because it's so cumbersome, there's massive expenses in there, it's loaded in, and really that cost is passed on to the consumer. So where we saw the gap when we left was, if we could create something that was as smart as people went, having bloods or medicals and so forth. And then if you could get insurance anywhere, you could get it at home, you could get it when you're lying on the beach, you can, like that kind of stuff. If we can create something that smart, then we felt that we could cut out a lot of the cost, a lot of the fat, and give it back to the consumer. So it's a massive cost saving, and it's completely flexible. It's convenient. And the stigma is one, thinking about it, but there's also stigma in terms of it's quite, going for bloods and medicals, it's quite a thing. No one really wants to stop their life and get pricked and, buy something that is a grudge purchase. So what we did was we set up that mission to build AI into our chassis. And what we did was we created, in my view, the smartest, or one of the smartest AI underwriting engines that powers what we can do. We can give our clients a quote in 10, 20 seconds and fully underwritten cover in 3 minutes. And for me, that was phenomenal. We built in the back end, and obviously we'll get into it, but for a client that can go through this entire journey. And I mean, there's a great story. One of our advisors, he was out with his sister, and some guy, well, the guy was his sister's friend, And this is a classic example where it works. And basically, we were just chatting to him, and he just started with us, and he said, "Look, you know, there's this whole AI model. We can do this. We can assess your risk very accurately, and we can save you half on your premium." The guy turned to him and said, "Well, that's great, but I don't want to go through the bloods and medicals, and I'm happy, and it's just a mission." So he turned to him and he said, "Listen," he was drinking an Energade, and he said, "Listen," or Powerade or whatever it was, an energy drink for international it is. And basically, he said, "You've got a few more sips left." He said, "Well, it's about half full." And he said, "Listen, I'll give you fully underwritten cover by the time you finish your drink." Suffice to say, 3 minutes later, it was fully done, moved over, did that, and he still had a few sips left. And that's what you can do when you bring AI and tech into the kind of journey. You create something that is seamless, that removes the friction. And when you're saving that much, it's a pretty simple, in most cases, a pretty simple move over, or guys taking out for the first time. So, and as we unpack it, I'll go in a little bit more. But that was kind of the original idea, and when we brought that to life.
I actually, wow, is this feedback? I'm wondering what's happening. I'm so sorry about this.
No worries.
Okay, I guess we'll figure it out eventually. Technology, eh? Um, all right. So I wanted to say one of the most. So I have life insurance. I have health insurance, life insurance, on a few platforms, and I think the most demanding or mind. I don't want to use swear words here. It was actually assessing what my life would be considered worth
Yeah.
on paper. Um, Having to calculate how much money I would have to pay for certain things to be done should I not be around. And filling the forms, putting in details, all that stuff just felt so stressful. So you putting together a platform that could sort of, cross a few things off that list sounds like a win-win for me. But am I in the right space here? Am I getting it right? If I called up one of your team members right now at OneSpark, what would the process be?
So I think you're on the ball, hey, asking the right questions. So impressive. But I'll kind of unpack that a little bit with you. But just to take one step back quickly, we have quite a unique platform in that we're omni-channel. So we offer the convenience of either you can go direct online if you don't want to chat to anyone. I mean, I'm a millennial, and different generations want to do different things. So if you want to go online and just go by yourself and do it, it's smart enough to do it, and I'll explain exactly what you're saying. If you want to go to one of our financial advisors, we're a lot of the things we're also trying to do is bring financial advice into the 21st century, bring tech and AI, because traditionally, a lot of advisors have just been left behind with pen and papers and 50-page forms, and not really support from traditional companies who still like doing things the old school way. And then obviously you can do it on the phone. So if you went through the process, and what I'm very proud of what we've built is two main engines within our underwriting model. And the one that I just spoke about, briefly touched on, is our underwriting. Now imagine, and I'll get into the financial needs, which you touched on exactly, but imagine like millions or probably billions of different trees and nodes are going down. And the AI is smart enough to figure out, actually assess the risk of the individual, right? If we went through it, you could see. And what it does was all these nodes and these different arms and branches talk to each other, and they learn. We feed it and it learns and it gets smarter. And the one amazing thing is, there's a case study doing on actually us, is that when you build something this smart with a chassis that can change, it's flexible. What we've actually done is our risk assessment is almost the exact same as someone going for bloods and medicals, which is amazing, which means that this is where the future is going. I mean, obviously we saw it ages ago, but in life insurance, no one's really embraced this, which surprisingly, except us. And we're the case study that shows that when you do that, you no longer need these cumbersome bloods and medicals in most cases, which is amazing. It's a nice case study. But where it also gets amazing is, so that's the one side, is that you get really convenient access. You don't have to go for bloods and medicals in most cases and so forth. But the other chassis, the other arm of it, is, as you said, it's very hard to figure out how much cover you need. How would you do that? I mean, it's a very difficult calculation. You've got to take into account, and I won't get too much into it, but my background is statistics and mathematics and all of that. But you basically got to project your whole life forward, all your income for the rest of your life, promotional, this. You got to figure out how many kids you're going to have, the debt you're going to have, how that's going to change, inflation, macro, microeconomic stuff. It is very, very complicated. And the truth is, no one really knows how to do it. I mean, we know how to do it, but a lot of financial advisors, it's, you'll go to guys, and I've seen like guys will sell books and they'll just say, you need $1 million cover or $2 million cover. And that's fine, but it's scary because you're basically, life insurance is there for you if something happens to you. And it's actually there for your family. You're leaving the money for your family. I mean, very simplistically, if you get that number wrong, you're effectively not accounting for your kids' education, medical aid or health insurance, for food on the table. Where's that money actually going to come from? Like, when you put it in perspective, it's actually a scary thing. It's probably the one thing you do not want to get wrong, because it's not actually for you, it's for your family. And that's why you're taking it out. So what we did was we went back to the drawing board and we brought big data and a lot of tech into this and built these incredibly powerful models where we predicted, forward and everything like that. And we came up with a very simple structure. And in South Africa, obviously that's where we're trading. There's something called the insurance gap, and 90% of South Africans are underinsured, like 90%. And that's the actual gap. It's not like, it's crazy to think that only 10% have adequate cover. And that's, the second order effects of those things. If you don't have enough money, the state gets more burdened, families, you don't live the same life your family won't, as if nothing happened. So basically what we did was we got 4 international patents, and another patent that we had was we created something called the protection wheel, which basically, in very simplistic terms, it does exactly what you said. You don't know how much to put in. You don't really know the number. But if you went through the process and you only have R1 million with company X, whatever it is, it takes disability, income protection, the whole facet together. But that R1 million, we would show you, you 20, 30, 40, 50% insured. And why it's very important is when you take out car insurance or whatever it is, you're going to take it out to indemnify yourself. So if something happens and you're out of your car, you get another car, right? But there's no metric like that in life insurance. So we created that metric that we're putting them in the exact same position with their families as they would have been if nothing happened to the breadwinner. So when you're going through this whole process, and as you said, I just wanted to kind of give those two things, because those are the two pillars that underpin our tech and our AI, is that when you go through, you're going to have the seamless process, you're going to answer a bunch of questions, and then it's going to also ask stuff about your family, but this is all in 3 minutes. And then what it's going to do is it's going to pop out everything done for you. It's going to tell you how much life cover you need, how much disability, income protection, critical illness you need today at that 100% level. And even over time, it automatically, dynamically adjusts over time so that every single person, is as optimally protected as possible. And something I'm very proud of, because we wanted to create something that's brilliant, that enables, our clients, our advisors, to really offer good value, and actually protect the people that we're serving. So if you go through the process, it's all done for you. It's the simplest thing. And yeah, that's kind of the two sides of it. And it will tell you exactly how much you need. So that's kind of a nutshell.
I've been looking through the site.
Sorry.
Oh, wow. Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch the beginning, but yeah.
I've been looking through the site. And it's a very, should I use the word, youthful looking site. And I have to say, one into life insurance, one would have expected the CEO to be maybe a little bit more advanced in years. So it does make me wonder what made you specifically want to focus on this. It feels like there's a story behind that, maybe something from your past. I'm not sure if you'd want to share, but we would love to know, because you put a lot of heart and soul into this, as we can hear and as we can see from the site. But that aside, we will of course touch on that. But then let's touch on AI and this issue of chatbots and people's mindset towards that.
Sure. So, okay, you let me know the story behind it, and I'll kind of get to that, but that will come later.
Okay.
Or you let me know. But in terms of chatbots in general, right? I think, as I said before, and I really wanted to reiterate it, it's omni-channeled. It has to be. And it's very important because some people do want to talk to someone. It is a big decision, and we offer that. But we're finding a lot of people like going through that and being able to do that anytime, anywhere. And people shop around a lot. That's what we see. So we never see people coming onto the website and will, and interact with the chatbot and buy the first time. What they'll do is they'll come on, and on the 6th, 7th, or 8th time when they've come on, that's when they buy. So people do enjoy it. They enjoy the comfort of being able, taking the hassle out of it, no paperwork, all digital. And I guess those are two things. When you half the price effectively of the market and you can save someone a lot of money and you're convenient, you do have a winner that does speak to, it's a young and older generation. It's amazing. Like guys really do embrace it. I see guys in their 60s going through and you wouldn't expect that. You would think guys are going to go to advisors and stuff, but some guys, really, I mean, global economy is quite tough at the moment, so people looking for ways to save. So people interacting. It's the one thing that I'm trying to get across is that people do enjoy it, but the buying decision is very interesting. It just takes time. They like coming back and interacting with a few times and double checking and so forth. Yeah.
So at this point, I'm thinking it's curiosity that brings people forward the first time. Then maybe the second time it's okay, you know what, let's find out what this is all about. The third time, maybe they're checking the prices to see how much they have and if it's going to work for them financially. And then the fourth time they actually buy. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean that's the truth, especially as a young brand. We're young, but in numbers we've grown quite substantially. It's quite a nice book, but yeah, I think that's what it is. People come, they want to see who you are. We do have a more vibrant website. Our color, even our blue color, really stands out. It took a long time to pick that blue color. About 3 weeks of playing around with the color, the RGBs. I'm not even joking. As an actuary, like, very beyond me, but I enjoyed it. And then yes, people come. They usually what they do is we've got different functionalities. So you can get a quote in like 10 seconds or 10, 20 seconds, and they usually get that as a rough ballpark figure. Then come back, look around, look at testimonials, and go through the process, see it, then come back to check it. And then, around the 4th to 7th time, guys, we traditionally see them. Yeah,
4th, 7th.
Yeah, some guys like doing their homework like that. So, I mean, you do get the guys on the 2nd or 3rd sometimes, but it's usually quite a process of going through.
So I've visited quite a few websites in my day, but I'm thinking about these chatbots that just pop up and they block off the whole screen and they're talking to you. And now we know that they're AI, but before it was just a human face, supposedly answering your questions.
Ours is a human behind there. So our chatbots, the actual chatbot, yeah, we do. We're very big on so going through the whole process. I mean, that's AI and tech, and it does its own thing. But the person that you're talking to on our side, we made a conscious decision. We still, people want to talk to someone. So yeah, just from our side, it was an interesting decision. Yeah.
That's actually my question. Because I think there's a lot of sensitive information shared when it comes to very personal, deep personal information that probably people have never told anyone, even their children. Sometimes in many cases, their wives, husbands don't know this information. Talking to a bot just seems a bit out there, I have to tell you. So you have answered the question by saying you have an actual human there, but then it does feel like people throw the word AI around a lot now. So how does AI truly come into play here? And essentially, what's the difference between AI you're using and any other platforms?
Sure. So just on the chatbot, as with the pop-ups, we took a stance. Service for us is everything. We want our clients having unbelievable experiences. And in our view, in a personal conversation, the chatbot is not the place to build. It never goes to plan. I've never seen it go to plan. You ask a question, how do I do this? And it gives you some answer and you're just not happy. And it's just a terrible client experience. So we were quite forward on that. And I'm happy with that decision. I think it's the right one. In terms of our AI, it's really our chassis of how smart our underwriting is. I mean, that's where our real AI. So as I was trying to explain earlier, if we have billions of data points, right? So you have all this data. Now you need to build a model on top of that and let this model learn about the risk. And once you can understand that risk, and then you relearn and you update it, and that's kind of that predictive analysis. That is really where the AI sits, and it's neural nets, and there's decision trees and random forests and all of that. And that, I mean, those are the fancy names for it. But that is kind of the modeling over and over. And people do throw out AI when they don't really understand what it means. I mean, AI is effectively building a model that can predict things, and that is AI, and that it can relearn over time. And that's kind of what we do. We refine our model, and that's our real chassis of true AI in our form. It's that removing bloods, medicals, all that stuff, and being able to predict risk at that very, very accurate mark based on our data.
I'm wondering what your most, should I call it, the most popular age group is? Should I say investing or making use of your platform? What age group do you find come to your site most, and what sort of insurance are people buying the most as well? I know that car insurance is very important, very popular, and that's probably one of the biggest, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so what we're finding is our average age is around 39, 40. So it's not as young as you would think. And I think it's a function of life cycle. When people need insurance, it's more in their 30s going in 40s. I mean, that's the time you have kids and debt and all of that. So with the needs there, we see our biggest take up over there. In terms of what they're buying, so we currently offer, so life insurance is broad. It's got life cover, disability cover, income protection, critical illness, which all have slightly different needs. They're built for different purposes. And so we find we have that. We also have funeral cover. Funeral cover is obviously very culturally relevant. So we find that people traditionally take a lot of life cover. They want, to protect their families, and some sort of disability cover if they become disabled. Because contrary belief is that disability cover, protecting your future income, is actually far more important than taking life insurance, just in the sense, because it's your biggest future asset. And with life insurance, I mean, they're both equally important, but people only, because they understand the concept of life insurance. If you die, leave for your family. But think about it like this: if you become permanently disabled, God forbid, if that happens to someone, you now need your future salary to support you and your family. If you pass away, it's just your family. So you could argue there's a greater need there, and they'd probably be looking after you. So you need all that future salary. So the reason I'm saying it is, we try to educate our guys quite a bit through the process. And that's why if you put it in a single easy number, it helps. But guys are traditionally taking life cover, disability. I mean, that's the main thing, and lots of funeral cover, just because of the cultural relevance. So I would say those are the three biggest benefits or products that guys are taking. Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what this sound is, but it seems to go in and out. Maybe it's some AI trying to stop us from finding out all its secrets. That was just an AI joke I pulled out of the
no, it's probably one of my competitors. They're probably doing a little AI trick. So
maybe. So there is the issue of, should I term it integrity of life insurance claims? Because there are quite a few platforms who have gone under after making quite a lot of promises to a lot of people who, been paying for life insurance for a long time. Building trust in people is one thing, building trust in technology is another. How have you been able to sort of identify potential fraud, ensure there's integrity of all these claims?
So again, fantastic question. You're on the ball. Something I would ask to people as well. So there's definitely the trust element is definitely something that's very real. People want to know that if they pay all these premiums, that the company will be there if anything happens. In our case, the way we've structured the company, we're actually underwritten by a company called Guardrisk, which means that we write on their balance sheet, their book. So just to give you a feel, so if anything happened to us, which it wouldn't, they would just take over the policy. And I mean, that's kind of builds the trust. I mean, Guardrisk is owned by Momentum Metropolitan, the group in South Africa. So those are the big parent company, that owns Momentum and Metropolitan, two massive insurance companies. So we've got the guys behind us in terms of allowing that comfort. But at the same time, you have to understand your book. You have to understand, the potential fraud and stuff. And we've picked it up in so many different cases. So what we do is we build models internally. And I would say it's more big data than complete AI, where we, analyze segments, we analyze subgroups, and we actually pick out, we can see very clearly where the fraud's happening. And what we do is we just design products and process around it to try and mitigate it as much as possible. What we currently do now is actually building more AI, where we actually feeding it data and learning and being able to, we want to get to the point where we can almost predict up front and interrogate, like just figure out a little bit more, rather than someone paying, you want to kind of, fraudulent claims happen up front. They don't happen at the end. People take it out to claim. They, it's someone will have like a little mole, and they may have asked a friend and it potentially is cancerous or whatever, and then they go quickly try to take out as much cover as they want. So it's trying to get that up front to limit any damage or anything like that, especially to the client, because you don't want to pay all these premiums and then you figure it out at claim stage. That's the worst. So it's trying to figure it out up front. But yes, on the back end, we have some very smart actuaries and guys immense in stats and data science, who are building these clever models to allow us to assess and pick up little pockets. And we use more product design to protect. And then the other thing that I will say, and this is something that we steeped in, and I think in terms of claims, it's very important to understand, is that everything we do is pinned by behavioral economics, right? So even now, if you're looking at the screen, if you look at it, we only put stuff in blue that we want people to be drawn to. So if you look at check prices, it will draw to you, or world first. We use, everything is well thought out. We didn't just come up with the color scheme and do it like that. And if you go through it, you'll see we push you, to certain things that we want people to see. It's just very smart in terms of the way that we've designed it. And the reason I'm getting into this is that through the process, the way insurance usually works is that when people go through it, everyone lies a little, okay? And that's a fact. And what I mean everyone lies a little is no one answers the questions properly, how much they smoke or how much alcohol they have. I mean, it's just, we know that. So you price that in and that's fine. And the 99% of people that are mostly truthful, you're okay. But it's the 1% of people that go on with the intention of actually, we call it selection, but selecting against you. And those are the guys you've got to worry about. So how do you do that? So we designed a way to do it through behavioral economics. So if you think about it, if you go write out a form, okay, and you answer all these questions, traditionally, that's what you do. You answer all the questions, pen and paper, and at the end you sign your name. If you've already lied on it, you know what I mean? It's not gonna do that. You're not gonna go back and change your questions. You're like, oh, these are big insurance companies, they don't want to pay out, so I can do this a little bit here and there. So to protect yourself against kind of the people lying a little bit, because that does accumulate, what we've done is, instead of ask for a signature up front, we call the honesty question. And all it is before they get into it, it's based on behavioral economics, is that they basically have to, it says, we trust that you're going to be honest, will you, but it's worded very well. I can't remember the exact wording, but it pops up if you go in the process, and then everyone clicks I do. And what we've effectively done is just change a slight dynamic change of thinking about it up front, because now a person is aware of it. We've primed them, it's behaviorally, we've primed them to actually be more aware of their honest actions. So, and the reason I'm getting into it is AI can't solve everything. You can get it and you can build models, and that's how you can get the integrity. But the real way to solve it, in my view, is to design clever and smart structures and systems that just extracts, the most honest answers out of people, because that's what you really want to do. You want to give good insurance to honest people. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we've done it. But yeah, we got the models and all the cool stuff. I was just giving you a little example.
Yeah, I know you can't give us all the secrets, but I think that is incredibly smart. I have to say, not to sound I don't want to sound condescending or anything. Of course, you're smart. You're the CEO, but I'm thinking, yeah, you mention it to them first, so that they realize that they're probably about to tell a few white lies.
Yep.
And catch it before it happens. So have you found that this makes people a little bit more truthful, a little bit, or a lot?
It makes them a lot. It's really behaviorally, like, and it's called priming. And you're anchoring a person in honesty. They did a study, and basically the other day, well, we did it based on the study where they asked someone, I can't remember what the exact what they had to do, like it was a test or whatever, and they gave the people the option to cheat they had a control group, another group, and basically the one group, they gave them a Bible before, and just to look at the Bible on the desk, and just having that there, the guys like didn't, I can't remember the exact thing, but they didn't cheat or anything, and they're far more truthful. So we find people give a lot clearer, lot better answers. So just that little change, I mean, helps quite a bit.
Thank you so much for your time. I have to say, I really appreciate it. Just one final question, really, which is actually getting to the crux of the issue. The advancements that we can expect from AI in the future, especially with regards to life insurance as an experience for both the policyholders, the insurers. If we've gotten this far already, where can we go from here? And how is OneSpark going to be a part of that?
So again, great question. I think what we've done is brought down that month gap of being able to, get cover to 3 minutes. The next evolution is twofold: is getting it instant, so being able to draw data from other sources, and building your AI models on the back end so that you can feed the beast even more. So you're going from you augmenting what the client says plus what you can get from multiple sources, be it health data, be it credit data, be it social data, whatever you want to bring in, and allow for an even smarter, even better risk segmentation or risk assessment upfront. That is the next thing. So bringing that 3 minutes, and that's what we're actively working on, is to almost have like a one click. I mean, that is the goal. You go on, you kind of brings in all the data, you assess it, don't need to do anything, and you click. That's the first thing. And I guess with bringing that down, it's also bringing, as I was saying, just different data sources kind of into it. That's the first thing. And then the second one is really around on claims. Building in, which we're currently doing now, is very smart, different methods to assess fraud and, stop that. The thing with fraud that people don't understand is that the more fraud there is on any insurance book, what will end up happening is that the few people who are committing it, that cost will be transferred back to all the clients. Okay. So while people don't realize what's actually happening is that, little by little becomes a lot. If you've got lots of fraud on your book, your clients will end up paying more because you've got to feed it back. So it's on the two sides. It's the upfront, bringing in data, analyzing it, building big, powerful models to be able to do that better than anyone, which is what we're currently doing in the background. And then obviously a claim stage, which you touched on, is being able just to assess better, which we're doing. So that's not as AI, I would say big data and building models on that. That's slightly different and analyzing it. But I think those two things together would be really where the life insurance kind of landscape is going towards.
All right, then. Now, I have to say, Greg, you have really given me a lot to think about, and I have a feeling the viewers and listeners have been doing so as well. I have to say a big thank you to you one more time. This is Greg Smith, founder and CEO of OneSpark. For those of you just tuning in, now he has always been purpose driven. He's lived his life under the belief that searching out new ways to help people and society live better, more equitable and prosperous lives is the way to go. I have to say thank you once again for joining us on One today.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. And again, very, very thought-provoking questions. So well done. I mean, I'm in insurance, so I know, but I was like, yeah, those are good. So
thank you. Yeah, I know how much of my change has been, tucked away from. I have twin girls. They're 10 years old, and it's been something I've been thinking about since they were, I think, 4 or 5. Because I had so much invested in them, and I just thought about it. One day, like, what if I didn't have the chance to give them more than they deserve? So I'm thinking about it. I'm in West Africa now. I'm not sure if OneSpark has expanded to West Africa yet. Not yet.
No, so we will come. The plans are to come throughout Africa, but our next venture is into America. That's where my business partner is currently. So that's our next one now.
All right then. All right then. If I'm ever in town, I'll probably pop by, say hi. But for now, LinkedIn is the place to catch you, I believe, right? LinkedIn,
Yep.
Greg Smith.
Yep, LinkedIn and Greg Smith. You can catch me there. But again, yeah, as you said, if you're ever in Johannesburg or Cape Town for that matter, you can let us know.
All right then, I will. Okay, then have a great day, Greg. Thank you.
Great, you too. Cheers.
All right then. Now, I want to say you heard it here first. AI and life insurance, the future of life insurance with AI. We've talked so much about technology on this show, and the concept of artificial intelligence has rapidly integrated into various industries. Now, its significance when it comes to life insurance and its potential to reshape the way life insurance is priced, managed, underwritten, it's incredible. And we've just been able to scratch the surface with today's conversation. You can, of course, leave your comments and contributions in the comment section or in the chat, wherever you are listening or viewing us from. We will be catching you a little later on. We have another conversation on AI coming around 6 p.m. today, and that should be really interesting for you to watch out for. But for now, if you would like to be on the next edition of One on One, you can always send us an email. Just send an email to Dynamite Podcast Network at Gmail, Dynamite Podcast Network at Gmail, and our team will get back to you. And we'll be having another interesting conversation, possibly with you. My name once again is Titilayo Uyingso. Thanks for listening.